Let there be no doubt, the Karma plane which took off for Toto Wolff and Mercedes after their freak-off party in December 2021 has landed and taxied onto the arrival gate and will begin discharging its load this season. In our previous video, we highlighted how Mercedes have been falling down the paddock pecking order, with no expectation of a resurgence, and in this video, we will be showing how their sponsorship revenue will suffer following Sir Lewis's exit. In several videos last year, we highlighted those sponsors who had left after 2021, those who would follow Sir Lewis out at the end of last season, and those who have signaled or could be expected to leave, going forward. We drew particular attention to signs suggesting that title sponsor Petronas, whose deal was reportedly valued at $75 million a year in 2018, were considering terminating their contract. Now that the likes of Tommy Hilfiger and Puma have departed with the GOAT, we will be reviewing what the future looks like for Mercedes. But before that, we would like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the BBC and Channel 4's coverage of Lewis Hamilton and Abu Dhabi. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. Due to forming the longest and most successful partnership ever in the history of Formula One, Mercedes and Sir Lewis have been the top draw for sponsors, who are willing to pay the premium for big-name stars. So, Mercedes have undoubtedly benefited significantly from Sir Lewis's global superstar profile, which dwarfs that of the sport and other drivers combined. Indeed, it was not until Liberty Media took over in 2017 that they started to make strenuous efforts to boost the sport's global profile while simultaneously undermining Sir Lewis, culminating in the most shameful event in any sporting history, in the season-ending race of December 2021. Ironically, Sir Lewis's exit means that 2021 will now go down in history as the peak of the Mercedes dominance period, when they clinched their 8th consecutive title, as the GOAT was robbed of his record-breaking 8th. At that time, Mercedes had 24 partners and suppliers, with Petronas as their title partner, Ineos as their principal partner, 15 team partners and 7 team suppliers. Some like Tommy Hilfiger, Bose, Monster Energy, to name but a few, also cut separate endorsement deals with Sir Lewis, while others like Petronas forged very close relationships over a period that lasted the entirety of the GOAT's time at Mercedes. Expectedly, Sir Lewis was the focus of the commercials that many of these sponsors were publishing. It is therefore reasonable to expect that the end of the longest and most successful driver-team partnership in Formula One would be impactful, especially under the prevailing circumstances. Last season, Mercedes finished in the lowest position ever in its illustrious history, a lowly 4th, while its customer team won the title after a final race battle with Sir Lewis's Ferrari. It is a sign of what is to come that Sir Lewis and Ferrari are expected to contest for the title this season, while there is no such expectation for Mercedes or any of its drivers. This development will affect the sponsors' assessment of the value they are getting for their money, especially those Hamilton-era sponsors who paid the premium for sponsoring a global superstar champion in a dominant team. Now that the GOAT is gone, Mercedes are no longer dominant, are not title contenders, and have no world champion driver. Some sponsors must be reconsidering their deals. Indeed, the high-profile arrival of Adidas, with a deal that reportedly exceeds the combined total for 2 of Mercedes's top 10 sponsors, namely, the recently departed Puma and Tommy Hilfiger, will provide an opportunity for other sponsors to rate their spending. Mercedes were desperate and vulnerable when Adidas came along, so one can expect them to have made significant concessions to get their compatriot on board. The lack of transparency around the cost of the sponsorship deal would suggest as much, because contrary to standard practice, there have been no official statements about the size of the deal, but speculations range somewhere between $11 and $30 million. Can't imagine the Hamilton-era sponsors will be happy to find out that Adidas was able to get more bang for their buck, so let us see how this unfolds. By way of comparison, The $150 million, three-year deal that Bybit signed with Red Bull in 2022, in the wake of the Abu Dhabi robbery and installation of Crashtappen, has ended. It would appear that they were not feeling the hype surrounding the record-breaking fake four-time world champion, and no other sponsors are rushing to replace them. Wonder why? But here's the thing, if Toto's highly coveted, pseudo four-time world champion did not have enough to keep Bybit, what are the chances that the Hamilton-era sponsors will be content with the current Mercedes driver combination that is conspicuously bereft of a world champion or global superstar? One can't help but wonder how the sponsorship relationship with the likes of Petronas and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise will look like following Sir Lewis's exit. After all, he was the face of most if not all of Mercedes's sponsors, including Ineos, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, TeamViewer, and CrowdStrike, to name but a few. And everybody knows the depth of the relationship between him and title sponsors Petronas. Who will replace him in those commercials? George, Kimi, or both? Why should the sponsor have any faith in both or either of them, when Toto didn't offer them contracts beyond 2025? Unless Mercedes and one of its drivers can mount a significant title challenge this season, then one can expect Petronas, whose contract will supposedly renew in 2026, to either downgrade the value or pull out completely. It has been reported that the $75 million of 2018 was downgraded to $65 million in 2023, and we believe that it is this downturn that prompted Mercedes to start blowing smoke up Petronas's backside last season, by constantly declaring how important they were to them. Now, if the title sponsor is downgrading its deal, what do you think the others will be doing? But here's the thing, when karma comes around, everything you touch turns sour, and Mercedes's much-touted deal with Adidas has that potential. Being that the overly hyped deal involves a sportswear manufacturer, it will now be possible to make a direct sales comparison between the Hamilton and post-Hamilton era. Mercedes are about to learn why they should never have allowed the GOAT to go to a rival. Who do you think will sell the most memorabilia this season? Answers in the comment section, please. Mercedes' track performance peaked in 2021, but they continued to top the turnover list with $680 million in 2023. They cited increased revenue from sponsorships, which was reportedly just over $167 million for this performance, but what are the chances that this will turn out to be another peak? Historically, Ferrari have been the best sponsored and highest valued F1 team, but Mercedes have managed to generate more revenue. What are the odds that following Sir Lewis's arrival, Ferrari F1 will make it a perfect trifecta by overtaking Mercedes F1 in revenue, in much the same way that their parent company overtook Mercedes in market valuation, immediately after they secured Sir Lewis's signature at the beginning of last season? Forza Ferrari.